Welcome to Highway Herald, your roadmap to the latest in auto and beyond. In early 2025, the U.S. Treasury didn't just issue a warning, it ignited a financial shockwave. Banks involved in Iran-linked oil trades, especially those using Yuan or routed through China, were told to choose the dollar or exclusion. This bold move signaled a deepening economic showdown. As the U.S. tightens its grip and China builds alternative systems, oil, finance, and digital currencies have become the battleground in a high-stakes power shift, redefining the future of global financial order. Buckle up, the ride is just beginning. The wake-up call that rattled global finance. In spring 2025, the U.S. Treasury issued a stark warning to global banks, especially in Hong Kong: continue processing Yuan-based oil transactions with Iran and risk being cut off from the U.S. financial system. Within weeks, 9 Hong Kong-linked entities were sanctioned for allegedly laundering oil revenues through forged documents and phantom trade routes. Major institutions like HSBC and Bank of China, Hong Kong, were pressured to expose hidden ownership networks, reinforcing U.S. sanctions regardless of local laws. By Q1 2025, over 54% of Hong Kong's $260 billion in cross-border settlements were in yuan, a sign of shifting financial loyalties. Washington's message was clear: access to the dollar comes with strings attached. Banks were forced to choose between staying in the dollar-dominated system or embracing an emerging Chinese-led alternative. But while global banks felt the squeeze, another player in this sanctions chess match had already adapted and evolved: Iran. Iran's stealthy maze, shell firms, smuggled oil, and ghost ships. By mid-2025, while the U.S. ramped up sanctions enforcement, Iran was already running a sophisticated financial shadow network to keep its oil revenues alive. On June 6th, the U.S. Treasury's OFAC sanctioned over 30 individuals and entities, including the Zaringhalam brothers, for laundering billions through front companies across Hong Kong, the UAE, and Southeast Asia. Iran's tactics included oil tankers switching names and flags, disabling tracking systems, and labeling cargo as Malaysian blend to mask origin. Supporting this, false documents and complex ownership chains obscured the real players. FinCEN followed up with a red flag list detailing suspicious shipping behavior and oil for gold barter schemes. These weren't amateur operations. They were state-backed mechanisms involving Iranian defense agencies and parts of its central bank. Iran wasn't just evading sanctions, it had constructed an alternate financial highway. As Iran built its shadow routes, China was busy building something even more formidable: a legal global alternative centered around the yuan. Before we dive deeper, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and support Highway Herald. Your clicks and comments keep our engine running and our updates rolling. China's countermove, fueling the yuan engine. As U.S. sanctions intensified, Beijing seized the moment to fast-track the yuan's rise as a global financial alternative. By March 2025, the yuan had climbed to the 4th most used currency worldwide, accounting for 4.13% of global payments. Though it dipped slightly in April, China's direction was clear: reduce reliance on the dollar and build financial independence. The People's Bank of China, PBOC, urged state-owned enterprises to conduct trade in yuan. Its cross-border interbank payment system, CIPS, a SWIFT alternative, expanded rapidly, reaching over 170 direct and 1,500 indirect participants across 119 countries by March. UnionPay extended its QR code payment systems into Vietnam and Cambodia, enabling day-to-day yuan usage. Meanwhile, China's digital currency, the eCNY, entered cross-border trials, allowing real-time trade without touching dollar infrastructure. This movement isn't just about efficiency, it's about asserting sovereignty. With its expanding financial ecosystem, China is crafting a sanctions-resistant network that appeals to nations eager to bypass U.S. control. The shift is already underway, and it's gaining speed. But while China moved to escape external pressure, America's own economic engine started sputtering under its own weight. Economic blowback at home. The cost of playing hardball. As the U.S. ramped up global pressure in 2025, its domestic economy began to strain. By April, consumer confidence dropped to its lowest in decades. Inflation expectations rose to 5.6%, and retail margins shrank by 1.6%. Manufacturing job growth stalled, and real wages declined 0.3% quarter-on-quarter, impacting everyday Americans. The proposed One Big Beautiful Bill offered retroactive tax cuts, but included a clause raising the withholding tax from 10% to 12.5% on nations deemed unfair to U.S. companies. Experts warned it could reduce foreign direct investment by up to $91 billion annually, threatening reshoring efforts and market stability. Simultaneously, erratic tariffs on Chinese goods, spiking to 30%, then rolling back, then rising again, created policy uncertainty. This volatility discouraged corporate investment and disrupted supply chains. In trying to assert economic dominance abroad, the U.S. may be fueling domestic instability. The irony? Defending the dollar's global power could be undermining the very economic foundation it's meant to protect. And all the while, tremors in the global financial system hinted at a much bigger shift, one that could outlive any single policy or presidency. Cracks in the foundation. A future beyond the dollar? The combined weight of global sanctions, crackdowns on shadow banking, China's push for the digital yuan, and mounting U.S. economic uncertainty is shaking the foundations of global finance. While not a sudden collapse, the cracks in the dollar-dominated system are widening. On July 30th, 2025, the U.S. unveiled its largest Iran-related sanctions package since 2018, targeting shipping tycoon Mohammed Hossein Shamkhani. His fleet, allegedly transporting Iranian and Russian oil through shell firms across 17 jurisdictions, faced asset freezes and vessel seizures. Yet even as Washington tightened its grip, analysts cautioned that this strategy could be counterproductive. Each new sanction further weakens confidence in the dollar's neutrality. In response, nations are building escape routes, regional currency blocks, CBDC infrastructure, and bilateral trade agreements that bypass the greenback. China's CIPS, digital renminbi, and Union Pay are already gaining traction. Europe and smaller nations are experimenting with gold, barter, and blockchain. A multipolar monetary order is emerging, and the real question is, who will lead it? Verdict: the high-stakes bet that could backfire. The U.S. entered 2025 with bold ambitions: defend the dollar's supremacy, sever Iran's financial lifelines, and contain China's expanding influence. But each aggressive move, whether sanctioning global banks, tightening oil trade restrictions, or leveraging tax and tariff tools, may have accelerated the exact outcome it sought to prevent: the erosion of the dollar-centric world order. While Washington played financial hardball, Beijing played the long game. China quietly constructed a comprehensive alternative system, complete with central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, cross-border payment rails like CIPS, and expanding regional alliances. These developments aren't isolated experiments. They're converging into a parallel financial ecosystem with growing global appeal. This battle isn't just about trade flows or sanctions. It's about who gets to write the rules of global finance. And increasingly, the U.S. finds itself policing a system that is actively charting a detour. Now, we want to hear from you. Did the U.S. overreach in trying to defend the dollar's dominance? Is China's rise in financial infrastructure inevitable or underestimated? Can economic sanctions and domestic stability really coexist in the long term? Share your thoughts, theories, and counterpoints in the comments. Let's open the throttle on this debate. Before you shift into the next gear, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update from Highway Herald. We're breaking down the mechanics of geopolitics, economics, and vehicles, all in one ride. Thanks for watching and see you next time. You can now check out any of the videos on the screen. There's more exciting and informative content waiting for you.